Question.
Hey there, this is Mobile Agent TV, helping agents stay on the cutting edge from coast to coast.
Welcome to Mobile Agent TV. I am Michael Thorne of RE/MAX Little Oak Realty in Langley, BC, and my co-host, as always, is Dave Falkwer from Bridgewater, New Jersey's RE/MAX Preferred Professionals in the Enviro Realty team. Dave, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Okay, when you cut your sandwiches, Dave, you cut them in triangles or rectangles?
I don't cut them at all.
Oh, wow!
You don't cut them, you eat them like a man.
Oh my goodness, that went sideways. It shines a light on me a little bit there the wrong way. But awesome. During the broadcast, you can interact with us live on Twitter using the hashtag #MATVLive, as well as you can get us at Mobile Agent TV. We'll be watching that through the show, as well as I will now put on the Q&A feature. So if you've got questions for today's guests, you can just put them right there in the blog, and we will get them answered for you during the show. Now, this T-shirt that I'm wearing, this T-shirt is a gift from my amazing co-host Dave. I appreciate it very much. And Dave, the reason why, I mean, you sent this out, it's got New Jersey all over the back too, as well as we want to make an announcement. We're going to make several announcements here in the coming months, which is awesome. But I'll be getting on a plane, heading to New Jersey in October, and we'll be doing a live episode of Mobile Agent TV from New Jersey. Just talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, they're a sales rally. We do a sales rally here. The our regional office puts it on. It's at a big venue, and we get good portion of the agents here in New Jersey show up, and they're going tech this year, and they're going to do some Mobile Agent TV, and I don't know who the other guests are going to be at this point, but
well, Valerie Garcia is going to be down there, so we'll be chatting with her. We have to have her on the show.
Valerie's going to come. Cool. All right. I heard that. That's confirmed.
Yep, Jeff Love will be out there talking about mobile too as well. So they're really going to be talking tech at this particular tech or the sales rally. But encourage everyone in the New Jersey region, I guess even into New York. I don't know how far it is to come, but come on out, and we'll bring you more details soon. But it's cool to be doing a live show, our first live show outside of R4, and I get to come to your neck of the woods and hang out with you and Vanessa. So I'm really looking forward to that. As well as boot camp. We've had a really crazy week. Oh, by the way, we were supposed to be on the air, Dave. July 4th. How did that go? How was July 4th for you?
All right, fantastic. We had a good time. We had some friends over. Fireworks, picnic, all that stuff. It was cool. We had a good time. Fantastic.
So Jesse Peters and I were out in Toronto at OA headquarters. We did a 2-day video boot camp. Super well received. It's something we want to do throughout RE/MAX. And if your region, if you're watching this, if your region thinks that that's something would be you'd like to do, you can sort of get a taste of what the event was like by going to videobootcamp.ca. And you can take a look at that. Thank you to Valerie Garcia and RE/MAX OA for having us out. Jesse and I had a fantastic time. Let's get to today's show. We're going to be talking about real estate trends with two of the experts in the industry. They are from Real Trends, and you can get them on Twitter at Real Trends. And as always, we read out our guests' 160 Twitter bio. Residential real estate leaders look to us for timely and trusted information and analysis through our consulting, newsletters, conferences, and publications. Welcome to the show. First of all, Cade Madison, who is the technology strategist at Real Trends. Welcome, Cade.
Good to be here. Appreciate it. And longtime fan of the show, as you know.
Cade, you're awesome. And also Travis Saxon, who is the vice president of technology at Real Trends. Welcome to the show, Travis.
Thank you, Michael. And a little known fact about me, I'm practically Canadian, and I love ketchup chips, so I just wanted to share that with you.
People don't understand this. I mean, let's hit a hard-hitting fact. Ketchup chips is the #2 flavor in all of Canada and cannot be purchased across the border. And when I go visit friends in the States, I have to fly them down with me. Why no ketchup chips in the United States?
I don't know. It's a travesty, as a matter of fact.
It's never going to catch on. But another known fact about him, he drinks ketchup by the gallon. Like, he'll spill ketchup on his shirt even when he's not eating ketchup. And we're just like, what is your deal? he asks for extra ramekins when we go out to dinner. It's like,
What are
ridiculous.
ketchup chips?
Ketchup chips are barbecue
Ketchup.
chips. They're barbecue flavored chips, just with ketchup flavor instead of barbecue. It doesn't seem like a stretch, does it?
Brutal.
They're wonderful. Anytime I'm in Canada.
We have lost half of our audience for certain already. By the way, just before we get into today's topic, we're going to be talking about predictive marketing and analysis. We're going to be talking about websites. We're going to be talking about CRMs. We're going to get to a lot of great stuff. But you guys might have the greatest guest set of all time. You know, actually, you know what? The guys down there at oh my goodness, at the RE Source, they had a great set. But you guys there with a logo in the background, it's perfect. And you guys are watching this. My face is huge for you, right, Kate? Like, I'm on a 70-inch TV for you right now.
Yeah, you're on we have a 70-inch 4K touchscreen, multi-taction. So there's 32 touch points. It's like a giant iPad. It's pretty cool.
Fantastic. So we look good on your end. So let's get into a little bit, Kate. Let's start with you, and then we'll move over to Travis. I know a little bit about your history in the real estate industry, but let our audience know about your history in the real estate space.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even before that was all technology focused. Going through college, I worked at Apple for a few years, and my degree is actually in design management, graphic and web design. And so my background's always been technology. And then in college and a little bit outside of college, I ran a series of websites, and I was launching about 17 websites a month with keyword-rich URLs, all focusing on competing online and selling products online, not real estate focused. And I had some friends over at RE/MAX headquarters, and I actually got recruited to go over to RE/MAX headquarters to focus on strategic partnerships and vendors and trying to bring a lot of great technology partners and a lot of great vendors in the space to partner with RE/MAX, whether it was through integrations with Lead Street, Main Street, or approved supplier, and get them at the conferences and get them to negotiate great discounts and just strategic partnerships in general. So I was at RE/MAX for a few years and had an opportunity to come to Real Trends. And I miss all the great people at RE/MAX headquarters who you know a ton of. But it's been pretty eye-opening just to see not just RE/MAX. It's been fun to do a lot of thought leadership and a lot of studies and research, and actually hit the road. Travis is probably going to touch on what Real Trends does and who we are, but it's been cool to see, and we have some great RE/MAX clients as well, but it's been great to see just other business models, and I mean there's so many out there, and it's pretty cool to see their structure, whether from a technology standpoint or personnel standpoint, as well as just from a business standpoint. And so I've been at Real Trends now, I think a little over a year and a half. Feels like 15, but it's been really nice, and we're doing a lot of great things and a lot of excitement, which we'll touch on a little bit later.
Perfect. And Travis, for you, give us a little bit of your history in the real estate space, and then let us know exactly what role Real Trends plays within the industry.
Sure. So prior to the real estate space, I was a newspaper consultant, and I specialized in technology. My parents actually started one of the first internet-based newspaper companies, and so that was in the early 90s when Al Gore invented the internet, of course. But we basically helped newspapers in all facets, from selling online advertising to developing, designing, to creating real estate verticals and stuff like that. And so I was sitting on the other side of the table when dealing with real estate firms, and that led me to a change when the newspaper industry really took a hit. I decided, you know what, it's time to make a change. I ran into Real Trends. It was really dumb luck. And 5 years ago, we started the technology division of Real Trends, and it was really myself for a while. We quickly came to learn that there was nobody who did unbiased consulting in the real estate space. So one of the most important things that we hinge our reputation on at Real Trends is, number one, is we're the trusted source, and number two is everything that we do is from an unbiased standpoint. So we've had numerous opportunities of tech companies to give us kickbacks and stipends and stuff like that. We turn everything away because we want to be that source for the real estate industry. So to give you a little bit about Real Trends, We are a consulting and communication company, like you said. We have a few different areas of our business. On the communication side, we're well known for our newsletters, our Tech Touch, which is a technology-based newsletter that comes out every week. And then we do a lot of statistics and research reports. We just launched last week America's Best Real Estate Agents in the United States in partnership with the Zillow Group, and then before that, a week before, the top 1,000 in the United States with the Wall Street Journal. So we have a lot of partnerships and data and research, like our online performance study that we produce annually here. Tons of rich data. And like we're going to talk today about a CRM study that we just published and so on and so forth. But every month we have a new one coming out. So stay tuned. If you don't get our Tech Touch, it's a great way to stay in touch with us. On the consulting side of our business, we do valuations, mergers and acquisitions, a lot of high-level business planning for real estate firms. And then our technology team, there's 5 of us now. We have Cade Madison, who's our technology strategist, but also we have a research strategist, and a marketing strategist that they handle a lot of the different aspects that can help brokerages grow. And so we'll usually go in, analyze all their systems, see where we can make an impact and where the inefficiencies are, and then plug in the necessary strategies to make that brokerage better. And we work with a good 20 to 30 firms across the United States on a regular basis to help them with everything from search engine all the way down through back office accounting strategies. The sky is the limit what we might do in the technology space.
And we've probably done about 150 or so on-site consultations where we'll go in, actually do a 38-point audit system, and as that conversation develops, we're keeping an action plan basically that's either a leave behind or just our hit list and our punch list to knock out, working in the months to go. And so it's actually been cool. But we do anywhere from. Go on.
No, that's fine. I just think it's kind of interesting what you're talking about there too as well. I mean, for Travis to be in the newspaper industry and sort of see the transfer to digital, at the same time, prior to that, there was no tech consulting for a real estate brokerage. I mean, there just wasn't the need for it, and now I can't imagine a brokerage being successful without technology in the way that they market to the public, the way that they do their back end, the way that they manage their business, without that being at the forefront of the cutting edge. It's an amazing transition from, you know, newspapers being killed off by technology. Now, you know, real estate's absolutely needing to implement technology on all ends, and for a lot of brokerages, this is all brand new in the last 8 years, and therefore the absolute need for people like RealTrends.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you look at our audience; it's really the top 1,600 brokerage firms in the country, in the U.S. and in Canada. And being a large brokerage, I mean, if you're number 20 on our ranking report, you do a significant amount of business, and you probably have a significant amount of agents. Now, sometimes people take that list, and that's their target list. So now every company in the space that sells a product is now going after, saying, hey, we have this such and such product that does X, Y, and Z. Do you want it? And they just get inundated with all these emails. And so that's when they reach out to us and said, hey, what this company, this company, this company, I have like 5 demos set up. You know, what really makes sense for my business and my business needs? And so that's where we step in with brokerage firms.
Yeah, we help cut through the noise and the clutter, and also help distract the brokers from the shiny penny when it comes to technology. So that's where we specialize truly.
And as agents, we know what that feeling is like. That's being at the floor of R4 and going through the marketplace and seeing 150 booths, and there's really 3 or 4 that are going to add enormous value to your business, and the rest of them are shiny pennies. And it's tough for agents. It's tough. You know, we're so busy at our, you know, working within our business day to day to know, you know, what's value. And Dave, you and I have been a little bit like that for our audience. You know, when we get in and we do some research and we bring these different companies on, you know, the BombBombs of the world or the DocuSigns of the world, where you can say, okay, this really is going to add value to you, and or this or that's a distraction. Dave, you're big on, you know, there's a lot of great technology out there that's going to improve your business, and there's a ton of technology out there that is just going to get in your way and cause problems.
Well, I think it gets in your way more because there's so much of it. I'm sure there are good things out there that we don't implement that would probably take our business to another level. But because there's so much, you almost can't find it. Just the other day, I'm looking on my phone. I have apps on my phone that I put on a year ago. I looked at it and I went, oh, this is really cool. Let me put this on my phone, and I put it on, and then I go back and I look at it a year later. I never used it, and I go, I don't even know what the hell it's for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you open it up a year later, and it's like, please log in. You're like, oh wow.
What is this? I forgot all about that.
So on that note, talking about technology that needs to be implemented, let's cut over to the CRM conversation right now, because I think it's very fitting. Dave and I did a 3-part, maybe a 4-part series about 6 months ago, a year ago, where we took all the major leading CRMs in real estate. We invited people to come on, and we sort of put them all head to head. And it was clear in that series of videos or shows a couple things. Number one, CRMs are a lot like personalities. You got to have the right fit. There's no maybe one or the other. And the other thing that absolutely shocked me, and you guys address it in the white paper, was the fact that we talked to a lot of great agents that weren't using CRMs in their business, and it sort of blew Dave and myself away. I don't understand how you have the energy or the resources to just keep that in your head and not have a system, and you're sort of throwing away money. And the white paper, you can go to realtrends.com and you can read the white paper, and it's fantastic. But the adoption rate of CRMs has definitely increased over the last 3 years. That was one thing you guys discovered, and the correlation between those that use CRMs and the income people were making were the same thing. So Travis, talk about. I know that you wrote the white paper, but talk about the findings and the research that went into that, and sort of the key points that came out of that.
Sure. Obviously, I want to give a nice little shout out to our partners on this. Was Boston Logic, a great CRM company that we did this study with. But a few of the findings for you guys, and we've been studying this for about 3 years now, watching the trends. And just 2.5 years ago, agent adoption self-reported of CRMs was about 40%. So 40% of agents use a CRM. Realistically, at that time, it was probably closer to 26 to 30%, to be honest. And there's a lot of people that say they use a CRM, but probably haven't logged into it in 2 months.
Or they use Excel and call it a CRM.
Yeah, and that's very common too. Now, in 2015, when we just closed a study about 2 months ago, we found that agent adoption of CRM is up to 72.5%. But it's still, there's still 28% of agents out there that do not use a real estate CRM. And when polled, both brokers and agents alike said that they feel that a CRM increases their productivity by 50%. It was maybe a little lofty because when we correlated the actual results of the study with the production of those that responded, we found a 26.2% increase in productivity for those agents that did use a CRM. So the fact of the matter is, there was an increase in productivity when the agents used the CRM. And then another alarming statistic, this was a general agent population that we surveyed, but when talking to the top 10,000 agents in our country, about 95% of them use a CRM. So if you're seeing a gap between what the top agents are doing and what the regular agents are doing, there's a reason why they're efficient at what they do.
But so on that note, it's one of these being transactional and building a business that Dave and I continue to talk on the show all the way through. If you're going to be 26% more efficient, and if that means another $30,000 a year or whatever that's going to compute out to, and the cost of CRMs are because it's way more competitive marketplace than it was in the 90s. In the 90s, it was top producer, and that was kind of like the front leader. Now there's so many companies out there that they're very competitive. It can't be cost. And the ease of use of CRMs are phenomenal. What's the drawback? Why isn't there more adoption than there is right now?
Well, I know Trav's going to handle that, but it comes down to, in my mind, I have a friend that says all the time, everyone wants to run a marathon, but no one wants to train for it, right? And we see that pretty consistently within our industry in all sorts of facets. But I know Trav had a couple notes on the why.
And the overwhelming reason. the overwhelming reason was clarity, and that's kind of where we come in. That's what we're trying to dispel with these studies. Is I don't know which CRM to use. I don't know which one works for me. I don't know which one has which features. So that's the confusing part, and that is why most agents don't adopt, or the ones that don't adopt, most of them don't adopt for that reason. There's a few that will trickle in and say, we're too busy for a CRM. I think that's a bogus excuse because it's only going to make you more efficient, and if you're too busy, it might be time to hire an assistant to handle some of these best practices, which a lot of the top 10,000 agents in the country have assistants, and that's one of the things that makes them efficient, is being able to manage the CRM, manage the relationship marketing. There's stats that we've seen recently that 90% of home buyers said that they would use an agent again. However, only 10% of them actually do. And the problem with that is it's usually out of sight, out of mind. And that's a big problem in our industry, is once we get that deal done, it's on to the next one. And there's no stay in touch programs, or if there is, it's super generic, and consumers are starting to see through that. And so it's time to take a good hard look at your marketing. How are you staying in touch with your sphere of influence? Because as much as technology plays a role in this and it keeps us in business, there's no better way to generate business than your sphere of influence. And so you have to still have a way to stay in touch with them, to understand what their lifestyle is, and when they have a baby or get married or something like that. Those are opportunities for you to generate business.
Or what neighborhood, let's say you have a neighborhood page on your website, what neighborhood they were interested in, you can put them on a specific neighborhood drip campaign and send them information about the neighborhood they're interested in. And it's like, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah, and you can't do that with Excel.
Absolutely. So Dave, can you imagine your business without a CRM?
I'm sorry. Say that again?
Could you imagine your business without a CRM? Like, can you do your business any other way?
Getting feedback from there.
Yeah, I remember that from Real Trends there.
I think the question was, how could I imagine me doing my business without a CRM?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I couldn't. Because one of the reasons I'm getting a little older, so I don't remember stuff so much anymore, all right? So, my CRM tells me what to do when I wake up in the morning. Other than I go make the coffee, and I come and I look at the computer, and here's my schedule, here's the mailings that go out, here's the touch I got to make, here's the next task. And you could run a business with, an infinite scale if you have something that that systemizes you like that.
And it's this constant conversation, and Kate and Travis talked about it, about technology, and then said sphere of influence right afterwards. It's this constant conversation you and I have, and the nice thing about the difference between you and I, or the similarity between you and I, is technology versus old school belly to belly, and you and I both agree absolutely it's both. It's not one or the other. It's both. And so for Travis to say, when someone has a baby, it's a perfect opportunity to reach out and to maintain that relationship. Well, technology will let you know when those life events happen, and then you can go old school with your touch points. And maybe that's a frustration thing that you and I have had on the show, Dave, for the last 2.5 years, is this mentality of it's either Jetsons or the Flintstones. And the reality is it's a perfect mixture of both that will make you successful.
Absolutely. And they talked about a certain percentage, like this 10% are doing the top 10% of all the agents in the country, your top 1,000 or whatever, are all using CRMs and increasing their business. My experience in real estate is I don't care what it is, whether it's technology or it's mailings or whatever is the thing that's generating a lot of business today, there's always, since I've been doing this, there's always a little group at the top that's doing it, no matter what. And you can take that whether it's a competing company or it's RE/MAX or it's bring it down to your office level. It's always a little group that are really, really doing the things that are generating a lot of business. And of that group, there's only a 5 or 10% at the top of that are really kicking ass. That are like, they're the top agents in the world. And it's just sort of that old 80-20 rule. It just applies. At least that's my experience.
No, absolutely. So on that note,
absolutely.
What is it that an agent's wanting at a CRM? What was it that, I think you're right. I think we're paralyzed by choice. There are so many choices. I get a phone call or a message quite often where people go, Michael, can you give me advice on what CRM I can get? Well, that's tough because it's based on personality. and that's why they don't move forward. So what are those key things that when you researched that the agents wanted in a CRM?
Well, we did that in the study, obviously, and the #1 reason by far was follow-up and relationship marketing, just a way for me to stay in touch. Now, one of the things that I think is the most important, which was also evident in the study, is connecting the CRM with your lifestyle. So depending on what you use, whether it's Microsoft Exchange or Gmail, iPhone, Android, there's ways to connect your CRM to your daily activities and your daily habits. Without that, you just have another system, another login, and another place to go to upload and manually input data. So I think that is extremely important. Outside of that, automation was a big thing too. So, and you mentioned BombBomb earlier on the call. We're big fans of BombBomb. The automation of the response emails from your website contact form and stuff like that. Being able to automate things is so important to make you more efficient and work smarter, not harder. And so there's a lot of stuff like that. Obviously, when you get down to the granular items within the CRM, support is also important. And that's one of the problems when someone comes to you and asks, what is the best CRM for me? You got to look at all these variables. #1, do you already have a website? #2, do you want the CRM connected to your website? Do you want a real estate specific CRM with email templates built in or not? If you go outside of real estate, your Salesforces and Infusionsoft and Microsoft Dynamics, you start to run into issues where it's not connected to the MLS. You don't have property information in there. And there's a lot of hiccups that you can get over with those, and they're very, very powerful CRMs, but sometimes they're too powerful for the average agent to be able to understand and use on a regular basis. So you're constantly fighting this battle. And when we deal with a brokerage, you have to deal with the 40% that's going to be your early adopters, and then have the other people kind of follow those leaders. And so we're always trying to battle the tech savvy versus the non-tech savvy, and that's where it's nice to have variables in there where we can appeal to all different levels of agents. And so that's a common issue that we deal with on a regular basis. But by far, the single most important feature was give me a way to stay in touch with my sphere of influence.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, we'll be able to go into a brokerage that's going to essentially supply this to all of their agents, and we can build out a lot of the workflows and some of the action plans for the agents, inject a lot of content that we have at RealTrends, but also help build really gorgeous templates that can be pushed down to the agents, pushed out to their sphere, branded to the agent, and they don't have to do anything. And so that right there knocks off a few of the pain points for agents and helps increase that agent adoption. So
is the reason why that number isn't 100% is something that Dave and I have realized maybe before we started the show, but you know, there's just a lack of people in this industry that get into it as entrepreneurs, as business people. I mean, quite often, you know, interesting enough, Chris Spiker was at R4. He was on stage talking about building teams, and the way he talked about it was very systematic and very cut and dry, black and white. And we know, Dave, you and I know how much Chris cares about his clients and his past clients, and the whole Spiker group does. And he says, look, I will never ever send out a generic template in follow-up. That's how much he cares about it. But the way he approaches his business is very cut and dry and systematic, and he's a business person first and a real estate agent or a realtor secondary. Is one of the issues about adoption with video or tech or CRMs the fact, guys, Travis and Kate, that a lot of people get in this business that aren't business people first. They want to show houses and they want to be, you know, stagers, and they have a hard time approaching their daily grind as a business person first and as a realtor second.
Yeah, and the old adage, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, really holds true when it comes to technology and the real estate business in general. I mean, you really need to sit down, and once a month is not often enough. But when I preach, or I should say teach on the CRM and adoption side of CRM, I say at least once a month, you take an hour of your time to get your ducks in a row, to reach out, to update your sphere of influence, and that takes discipline, and that's what these top agents in the country, like the Spiker Group, have. They have discipline when it comes to all facets of their business, and that applies to technology just as much as it does to closing contracts or listing a home or staging a home, anything like that. You need discipline to be effective long term. And if you want to go from 5, I think the average in the country is somewhere between 4 and 5 transactions per agent. If you want to go from 4 to 26% higher, you need to have a system in place to be able to handle, follow up, and incubate both hot, warm, all hot, warm, and cold leads, so that you have a constant flow of business in your pipeline, and that's extremely important.
Well, yeah, and the #1 agent in the U.S. for 5 years running or so, I think he did 2,800 transaction sides last year. Now, you don't think he has any technology or processes in place? Granted, he works with builders and new building, and so each one's a different transaction side, but he's got a technology landscape that is just unbelievable, and I guarantee you he's got a CRM.
Absolutely. And Dave, talk about, I mean, you mentioned it sort of sarcastically, but the freedom of having someone, a CRM, where you just wake up in the morning, you roll into the office, you look down, and here's your to-do list, the freedom that lets you talked about this before, where you're not constantly on your hours off trying to remind yourself what tomorrow's day is going to look like. The freedom of just letting that go and know that there aren't anything falling through the crack is invaluable. And I don't understand, if you're doing your business without a CRM, you're crazy. But Dave, the freedom of just being able to, now I'm having personal time, Vanessa and I are hanging out, it's because you know that that there's something taken care of the tasks for you.
And it's actually a struggle too. It's a struggle for a lot of people. It's not a struggle for me. We had a team meeting just yesterday, kind of, to talk about this, where we talked about doing this very thing, because I'm different than the rest of the members of the team. All right, they do that. I mean, they all have CRMs. Everybody, and Vanessa and I are working together. But that's just the way I've always been in business. It's like when I shut it off and I'm able to not burn out. I burned out twice already in the business, so I learned. I learned that I can't walk around and wake up in the middle of the night, sit up in bed, and go, "Oh shit, I forgot to put the lockbox on 123 Main Street, and I promised the guy I would be there." I don't need to worry about that anymore. It's just that whatever time we stop working, I've stopped working. We go about our business and have another life, so you don't burn out and have balance, and then come back in the morning and turn it back on. And I know that's a challenge for a lot of people. It just depends on your personality, and even if you have to have a CRM, but the CRM really helps. I mean, just to be able to come and have systems in place that tell me what to do, when to do it, and checklists and all of that. If you're working without it, you're crazy, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, to go get the white paper, go to realtrends.com. I think it's under publications. You'll see it. It's right on the title page right now on Real Trends, but you can go there and read the white paper on CRMs. Moving on to the next thing we wanted to chat about, guys, was talking about, I asked you what sort of things we wanted to talk about a week or so ago, and it's very, very interesting. You guys see things from big picture. You guys can look at the entire industry. You can see real estate trends before we do, because we're in the trenches. We're too busy looking down. That's the great thing about having publications and newsletters and conferences like you guys put on, is we don't have to worry about keeping our eye on the rest of the industry. You guys do that for us. But talk about, or what is, let's start there. What is predictive analytics and marketing, and how will it impact a brokerage or an agent in the years to come?
Yeah, I mean, well, first you could step back, and we talked about this being a people belly-to-belly business first, and then technology sort of enhances that. And so, I mean, the idea of predictive analytics or social analytics or social cues has always been around. I mean, you think about it years ago, when it's like, hey, I'm looking to remodel my kitchen, or I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z. You're like, oh, really? Are you gearing up to sell? Like that could kind of help you think about, oh, wow, maybe you're thinking of making a change, or their youngest son is graduating high school, going off to college. That might be an idea of, hey, they're probably looking to downsize. And so that's more of an analog version of predictive, and not necessarily analytics, but a cue that they might move. And so you fast forward now, and there's great companies. Travis mentioned Boston Logic, and there's Boomtown, and they have Real Estate Webmasters. All these guys, they do a lot of really cool things with a lot of the leads, where they do lead scoring. And so Boston Logic has a logic score, and so based on habits, you can essentially know which ones are hotter based on website interaction. Did they fill out a contact form? Did they save 6 searches? Did they maybe they were on your website a year ago and they're back. Now it's time to reach out. And so that's an example from a CRM standpoint. Whether it's Boomtown's Opportunity Wall or Logic Score or any of these lead scoring systems out there. But that's the next evolution, and then you take that one step further, and then you have great companies out there like SmartZip, for instance, where they take a lot of public data. And if you're listening and you don't know who they are, they're a great company out in California. And what they do is they take a lot of public data, all these data sources, and put it all in, mash it up, and they're able to predict based on certain things, whether it's the age of the home, age of the resident, age of the children in the home, all these different data sources that's available. And they're able to predict who's more likely to sell within 6 to 12 months. And so you can buy a certain farm area, let's say 2,000 homes, and you can actually focus on the top 400 which are more likely to sell. Because if somebody just refinanced, more than likely they're probably not looking to sell right away. So then they're thrown out of the mix. But then now, instead of a shotgun approach, you can have a silver bullet approach and focus on who's more likely to do that. Now you take it one step further, and SmartZip's evolving, as is the industry, but there's social cues now. And so instead of just the smart targeting, there's some sphere targeting. And so based on certain things that happen, and Contactually is a great example too of what they do with a lot of the social data, where you can connect all of your different social networks, and it gives you an excuse to reach out, right? Somebody on LinkedIn just updated their job or is celebrating a 5-year with their current job. You can reach out, but you can take it one step further now, and we're actually working on this at RealTrends with a lot of our brokerage clients, where we have a tool that we can actually peer into all of the different social conversations centered around either a group of phrases, or hashtags, and we can curate and populate over 1,000 tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, Vine per second. And we can see that, and we can see who's talking about what and what they're talking about. A great example for real estate, we've actually built out maybe 20 to 30 different social cues. Just had a baby, looking to move to Denver. All these different conversations that are going on social media. We're mashing it together. Now we can download all of their @usernames on Twitter, and now we can populate an ad in front of them based on what they said. And so we're doing this currently, and we're able to, if you said, hey, I hate my job, or just had a baby, or something like that, if you said I just had a baby, or I'm going on my honeymoon, now we know you said that, we have your username and social profile, we can now populate an ad saying, hey, you're looking to move to Denver, or looking for your dream home, hey, something like that. And it's really powerful stuff. And so I see that as the evolution. Some of the score, the CRMs, and then big data, and then also the social predictive analytics.
But does that? No, that's the big thing moving forward is how do you get to belly? Like that's what this whole social thing is, and this is the thing I have all the time. Belly to belly will never go away. The issue is how do you leverage today's technology, today's market, today's social world to get to belly so you can build that relationship. But Kate, do things like this big data, predictive analytics, this sort of predictive marketing, is this much more in the hands of the Remaxes and the Century 21s and the KWs of the world, or does this get down to a broker level or even an agent level? I guess you could buy your farm 2,000 homes in silver bullet approach, but will this big data have a lot more impact to the big franchises moving forward, and will we continue to see maybe this difference between big franchises being successful in the future, and then hyper, boutique brokerages, and the middle size sort of going away, or will this just talk about who this is really going to impact the most? This sort of predictive analytics.
I don't necessarily see it as just the big guys are able to do it. I mean, you look at, I mentioned SmartZip. We see a lot more teams and individual agents using it, and I think that was the approach at first. They're building out a broker model, and sometimes brokerages are supplementing the cost for some of their top agents and teams using it, so it benefits them.
Yeah, and really what this comes down to is in the book Game Changers that Steve wrote, leads are the new currency. We have entered into an arms race right now, to be honest with you, and you see this as evidence in acquisitions in our space. For instance, when Zip Realty was acquired by Realogy, that was an indicator that they really wanted their lead generation. They really wanted their technology, and that's one thing that they're very good at. So yes, there is a role in the franchise space, but you also saw this with I can't remember the name of Nation Star, I believe, was the mortgage company that bought Real Estate Digital, and they bought that. One of the main reasons they bought that was for the consumer data that was in the transaction management platform. And so you're starting to see people try to negotiate their way into the buyer and seller equation before the buyer and seller is on Zillow or on Trulia or on your brokerage or agent website. And that's where we're going to with RealTrends, and that's why we want to be in that equation before that consumer even knows that they're on Zillow and Trulia kicking the tires. And so that's an excellent opportunity for you guys to be, and it doesn't take large budgets to do something like that. It's an excellent opportunity for agents, brokers, and franchises. And frankly, I think the franchise that figures that out and stops worrying about the competition with Zillow and Trulia, should I play friendly, should I not, all of that conversation, that's over and done with. It's time, let's jump ahead of them. Let's get one step ahead. And frankly, I think the franchise that can do that and take that forward-thinking approach will be the one that comes out shining in the end.
Yeah, totally agree. And not only there's predictive analytics, but there's predictive marketing, and on a very basic, opportunity that exists today that didn't exist prior. We've talked about it on the show day before, but I'm running 2 ads right now through dark posts based on the fact that Facebook knows the difference between one consumer and another consumer. I've got a property that's got a great workshop and an amazing kitchen, and I can run an ad for men that have a car hobby. I can run one ad to them and run another ad to women who identify themselves as foodies, and then I'm leveraging this data to what they were saying, what Kate and Travis were saying before too as well about CRMs. It's so noisy out there. There's so much distraction. There's so much anything, and any opportunity you have to market through that noise and get straight to the person's heart quicker, you're going to win dramatically. And we have to realize that. I actually having a conversation last night with a client of mine sitting at the kitchen table because we're talking about the dark posts that we're going to run for them, and they were like, "How do you know all this data?" And this perception of privacy, or we just assume, we accept the fact. My generation does accept the fact that. That data is out there. Google knows it. Facebook knows it. All this stuff. I'm not surprised that certain ads follow me around the internet anymore. I'm over that. So that's very interesting times to now leverage that information and improve the quality of marketing, which we couldn't have done when we were just running a blanket, ad in the newspaper or just a bus bench ad. That didn't really. It was just this blanket, nothing personal sort of thing. And it's a very, very interesting time for every industry, but for the opportunities that exist for agents.
As an older guy, I find it's actually fascinating to me. The conversation we're having right now, that all of this stuff is almost like the white elephant in the room. If the consumer really knew all of this that was going on, and then they really cared about it.
Do you think they do care, Dave? I mean, that's the point. Do you think they care that their data's out there?
Oh, some people do, and some don't. I mean, me, I don't. But if I was, but I know people that do. I know people that if I told them, I said, watch this show, and they would like freak out. I mean, it would be like the end of the world. How do they notice? They have no business doing it. Blah 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 blah. And there's a lot of people that that are like that. However, like you guys are all younger than I am. I think that group, they're just going down the road with it, and I just think it's but I have my own opinion about something has to happen down the road with all of this stuff. I mean, things are changing like this. They're changing so quick. There has to be some downside to some of this, and what it is.
Yeah, but you look at any industry. You look at any industry. If you add something to your cart on Amazon, you're going to get an email in a week saying, "Hey, you forgot to check out. Here's some related items." It's no different. People are getting used to it, I feel.
And that's one of the big drawbacks with real estate right now is we're always thinking one step ahead, or in some cases no steps ahead. But when we jump into the picture, we're thinking 3 steps ahead or 4. So give you an example. I could walk into a brokerage and say, "Have you heard of this type of marketing?" And many of them would say no. And like, "Let's do it. That'd be great." And they'll drive traffic to their website with no real end goal in mind. And so that's when we come in and say, "Wait a minute. Let's take a step back. What do we ultimately want to have happen?" And so, give you an example with remarketing. If you're not familiar with remarketing, it's when those ads follow you around the internet. I'm a big golfer. I visit the golf stores a lot online, and I get shown putters everywhere I go. I happen to have a putter collection too, so it doesn't hurt. Basically, yeah. So think about it from a brokerage perspective. You're doing all these great local content ideas, and you're trying to become an SEO juggernaut. You're writing blogs. Agents are blogging or being active on Facebook in the event to drive traffic back to their website. The problem with that strategy is all you're doing is trying to drive traffic back to your website. No end in sight or no conversion in mind. So we're always constantly taking it one step further, segmenting the audience, trying to drive them back to neighborhood pages or to conversion landing pages. But that's not all. Once they get there, we know they're probably going to leave. We want them to maybe download something to get a conversion, but then we still want to follow them around the internet to drive them back to get more information. We want to be able to get their email address so we can automatically hit them with an email that's relevant to what they were looking at on their website too. And so we have the technology to be able to do all of that. And that's where the future of marketing is going. If you're not thinking 3 steps ahead, you've already lost the battle. And that's where predictive, but also the smart marketing comes into play.
I think we'll see a point maybe when more agents adopt it is why would any marketing just one particular or like a blanket marketing? They'll all be sort of segmented, maybe a noise type marketing when we have the opportunity to spend the same amount of money and reach different segments of it. I don't know why we would ever just say the bus bench ad, I'm Michael Thorne of Remax Little Oak, call me. The opportunity to segment off, to have the putter follow you around, Travis, that has way more value to the golf store than to just run ads against everybody. Your ability to hyper-target, only certain people in certain neighborhoods, the YouTube pre-roll ads that we run only in our marketplace, only against other real estate videos. I mean, this blanket newspaper marketing, I just don't understand. I mean, I can see why the big brands still do it on the bus bench ad to create, a reminder. But as far as an agent goes, the opportunities are enormous, and consult with people like you to find out. You're going to have a way better ad spend dollar, and you're going to get to those 400 people in that neighborhood that are more likely to move than just going after all 3,000 of them. The opportunities are enormous, and the cost, like you said, Travis, isn't insubstantial.
No, I know. As a matter of fact, we run a lot of remarketing campaigns for firms across the United States, and I think in one firm we spent $50 and got 100,000 impressions on their ad across the internet. And you couldn't put a billboard up, you couldn't do anything to compare to a cost per impression in something like that. And so
sorry to interrupt, but a targeted impression. It's one thing, to call an impression of someone who's never golfed in their life and never going to golf in their life is a different impression than a guy who's an avid golfer. I mean, it's also the qualification of that impression.
Man, Michael Thorne and Bomb Bomb are following me all over the internet.
I'm there. I'm the Bomb Bomb.
Where I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's amazing, and it's that it's people that have already been at your website, on your website, and so that's following you around, and it's unbelievable. I mean, can you imagine having a billboard that only the people driving on I-25, for instance, only the people that were at one point in the past 6 months or whenever you installed the code were interested in buying real estate, see your billboard? It's not going to happen. Yeah. And so it's amazing you have that, and then you even have more evolution of that with video remarketing. And so now it's not just, hey, remember you were on our website. It's showing them like a slideshow essentially on Google's display network, and now you're linked up on CNN and all these different websites through Google's display network that it really validates your company. They're like, whoa, this guy's on CNN, but really, it's just retargeting.
Yeah. Okay, we've already had you for 50 minutes here, guys. Let's jump into last conversation, and it's a good one too as well. But you guys are spending a lot of energy now looking at the best websites, the elements of the top websites. So talk about what you're doing and looking at where the trends for real estate websites are going, and maybe your criteria, the difference between a great website and a not so great website.
Sure. So we started about 2 weeks ago. Our team has literally spent close to 100 hours analyzing the top real estate websites in general. We took our top 500 firms, but then also opened it up in our publications for anybody that wanted to submit. And we got just over 700 real estate websites, and so it was a huge project, as you can imagine. But the value was immense, and so we picked, and our team met and decided on 8 categories. We have the best real estate design, the best mobile experience, the best video, the best neighborhood strategy, the best converting website, and so we're looking at conversion strategies. I'm probably missing 1 or 2 there. It will be launched August 15th, 2015 on realtrends.com. Now, the cool thing that we're doing that's unique is we did the legwork for this, and we went through and whittled it down. We got to about 50 or 60 in each category, and then it was really difficult to get from 50 or 60 down to top 25, which is where we're at right now. We have the top 25 in all 8 categories ironed out, but we're not going to be the ones that actually vote. We have at RealTrends some what we call CTO groups, and these are the CTOs, or Chief Technology Officers or Chief Marketing Officers, of the top brokerages in the country. There are going to be 70 judges that will go through every website, click on them all, look at it for that category. If it's a design, they're going to look for specific design elements, and they're going to place their votes, and we're going to actually rank the top 5 in order and still publish the other 20 and make the top 5 on our website on August 15th. As a result of this practice, we have seen some of the most amazing websites, and not only that, some of the best mobile websites where we think the future of real estate is actually going. Just 3 years ago, we saw about 12% of real estate traffic coming from a mobile device. It jumped up 2 years ago to about 26%, last year to about 43%, and we feel that this time next year it will be upwards of 50% of all traffic will be coming from a mobile device. And so those of you, and one of the alarming findings we saw, out of the 700 websites, well over 50% of them either had no or really poor mobile experience for the consumer. And it's no wonder why they want to go to a Zillow or Trulia, the consumer anyway. And so that was one of the alarming trends that we saw in this space. And it's really not that challenging to come up with a nice mobile website. A mobile app is a whole different story, but when you're talking mobile app versus mobile website and that great debate that we have in our industry, focus on where the eyeballs are. They're already coming to your website from a mobile device, so make sure that your mobile website is in good shape. If you have the resources and the ability to do both, we encourage that, but in the end, it's very important to appeal to that audience that's already there. We found, and I don't know if you saw the news, there was a story that came out, a New York firm that focuses on rentals was going to a Tinder-like approach to their rental home search. And those of you who are unfamiliar with Tinder, I'm not a single guy, so I've just seen it once, but it's a very visual way to find a partner and to match up yourself with a partner I won't go any further into any details there. I'll get myself into trouble. But that's essentially what it does. And so people are starting to go to a more visual experience. And a couple of the top mobile websites we saw in real estate were essentially this excellent Tinder-like experience where I could flip through properties, and then if I liked one, I could swipe up, swipe down, I could interact very creatively rather than the traditional, let's do a search, regurgitate the MLS, spit out the list of properties, I go down the list and I'm clicking in and out, waiting for the page to load on all of these properties, and that's an issue with our industry. It's same thing with the desktop experience. We have that, it's very common. And so a few of the unique tactics that we saw to drive mobile traffic, mobile visitors and stuff like that was one of our websites, John Green Realtor in Naperville, Illinois, is a very good website, made a few of the top 8 categories. And on their homepage, they have a little text box that allows you to enter in your phone number. And basically what it does is it shoots you a direct download to their mobile app. But at the same time, they got a conversion strategy in mind. So converting that person as a mobile lead and able to then text message and push notification to that person, that's one step ahead in that case. And that's the stuff that we're looking for, as well as WilliamPitt.com has a really cool experience on their property detail pages on their desktop version. You can literally text a property from their desktop version right to a friend, and it captures both the visitor and the end recipient's phone numbers, and imagine the power of something like that to grow your database of people looking at real estate on a mobile device. Now you can trigger an app to go out to them or some kind of call to action. And so those are the types of unique trends that we saw in the mobile experience. And I'll let Kate touch on, we saw some really cool stuff on the unique experience. And we didn't have this category to start with, but we said, heck, we got to do this. So we created the most creative / unique experience. And so Kate's going to share a few of those with you.
Yeah, and I'll be quick, and you'll see that when we launch this. I know we only have 4 minutes left, but one really cool example was a brokerage, CBSHome.com. And what they've actually done is they've gone out to their entire market and asked for what children wanted in their dream home. And so they have kids' artwork that they've posted and has their name and their age and kind of what they're looking for, and actually have crayon drawings really visually displayed well on their website. And so we thought that was a pretty cool idea. And so, that was one example. I mean, MasonMorse.com, they have unbelievable neighborhood pages and just great data and great experience on there. We put, Michael Saunders had some great lifestyle type content. I mean, we go through and we'll launch this. I know we only have a few minutes, but you mentioned the send a text and a bunch of these unique ideas. It's some of these apps are moving so fast in these these tech companies in the space, and I mean even outside the industry that consumers are really getting used to great visual experiences, and if you don't deliver that, they're kind of turned off by it. And that could be just an opinion, but we've seen that. And if you don't have any interactivity, you don't have any data that's not regurgitated, that's actually made well, whether it's an infographic or video infographic or something, they're going to be turned off completely. And that's a lot of what we've seen. And these are a lot of the top companies in our industry. I know we have a couple minutes.
No, that's great. I mean, the fact that by mid-August, agents are going to be able to go there and say, here's the best of the industry, and be inspired and look as it is place of, okay, I think that a lot of the things, that's what agents, they're so busy in their jobs, they don't have the ability to go out and look through 700 websites and find out what works and click through it. That's what Real Trends, the value of something like Real Trends, go out there and do that research. And I would imagine you're going to have a lot of the websites show up in multiple categories because they're aware of where this industry is going. But because it's the #1 topic on the show the last 2.5 years, touch on creative video use on website, both mobile or desktop. How have you found the implementation of video over the last year or so, and some of the good uses in a website?
Well, it's still a challenge this day and age. It's gotten better and it's gotten easier. We've actually invested and committed to video as well, as you know, Michael, and we give you major kudos to what you're doing. But we launched a product called Taggable by RealTrends, and it's a simple product. You can go to taggable.com, Tagible, and it really makes you a video expert without having to do a ton of video. So we've gone out and curated, or basically found and pulled in 10,000 real estate videos. They're already sorted and organized for you. From a broker to agent perspective, you have everything from training on what's the best strategies on Facebook to what are the most used technology systems. If I have Dotloop, for example, it allows you to look at all the videos of that platform inside of there. And so it's already done for you. But from an agent to consumer perspective, we have all the best videos on how to stage your home, how do I brighten up my fireplace, and stuff like that. And so you already have this video. It's branded to you. It's in your own library that you can embed on your website. And then you can trigger a video newsletter to go out in seconds that is full of rich videos, and you didn't do a single one of them. You can also go out and find local videos in your marketplace. We have a few brokers and agents that are doing that. One in Scottsdale, Arizona, that basically has pulled in great local pockets and put that into their library as well. And it was videos done by the Chamber of Commerce, the city of Scottsdale, and stuff like that, the golf courses in Scottsdale. A very unique and rich user experience. But there's other companies out there. You mentioned BombBomb is making video easier on a one-to-one communication, whereas Taggable, our product, is more of a one-to-many video product. And then you have the company like WeVideo, and it's WE Video, that really makes video creation easy. They developed their platform for grade schools, and so it's super simple, it's easy. Now it's growing across the education space, and it's starting to break into real estate as well. And you can do pre-rolls, animations, lower thirds, like you see on our screen here, stuff like that. Makes video creation easily. So it's starting to come together, and we're definitely invested in this, both financially and professionally. We feel that video is the future of our industry, and we're starting to see that too on listing properties. And so you start to see drones, you start to see companies like Matterport doing 3D virtual tours, whether that's technically video or not. That stuff is going to hit our industry. And we're going to start to be able to see a better user experience online, where the virtual tours and the videos, and to give you an example, if you want to see a really cool virtual tour, check out Zero Potato Island. Just Google it, and you will find a website on pagetaft.com, and it is immaculate. Literally, they're selling an island. It's a couple $1 million off the coast of, I believe, Rhode Island or somewhere out east. And the virtual tour and the experience that they take the user through is spectacular. And that's the future of our industry. It talks to you about lifestyle. We're only 25 minutes by boat from New York City and stuff like that. We're starting to see that lifestyle injection into video, into the properties, and all of that stuff. So if you're just regurgitating the MLS, you're so far behind this day and age that it's time to step up.
Thank you for saying that. You know, Cade and I had a conversation on the phone, I don't know, 6 months ago, and he started talking about Taggable, you know, that sort of thing. This is where, you know, these opportunities are there. Dave and I are huge believers in the visual medium. Matterport to me is video. The fact that it's an immersive visual experience. You know, we totally agree that this is the future of our industry. Thank you guys for coming on, giving us an hour of your time. It was awesome. Just go through how people get a hold of you, how people get the CRM white paper. Talk about Taggable one more time. Just give us all the content information for you guys at RealTrends.
Sure. You can reach us at any time. Our tech team has a universal email address, tech@realtrends.com. Very simple. You can always visit realtrends.com. Follow us on Twitter at RealTrends, Facebook.com RealTrends. And then we also have taggable.com, so Tagible is our video platform, with more to come. Social predictive marketing is about a week away. We're in private beta mode of that right now with a few of our clients, and lots of new strategies and products in the works. So if you don't know what to do in the technology space, reach out to us or follow our Tech Touch. You can get that on our website at realtrends.com. Click on the technology tab and sign up for Tech Touch. It's a very pertinent newsletter with deep strategies every week on things like how to best use video or how to best use Facebook and all of this stuff. And stay tuned for those website rankings launching August 15th.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that because I know people are going to have lots of takeaways from what's happening there with the best websites in our industry. Kate, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate it. Awesome guy. And thanks, Travis. I appreciate it very, very much for you guys giving us an hour of your time. Dave, a takeaway from today's show, there's so much content here from CRMs to predictive marketing to sites. But
too much. I mean, the bottom line is technology. These are the guys right here. I mean, this is a resource for every real estate agent. RealTrends.com, and they do it all for you, so you don't need to hunt it all down. There's too much for one person.
Hold up that book one more time. I talk about game changers on stage or when I'm out in the conference all the time. I think it's an absolute must-read. Even it's a 20-page book, but it's an absolute must-read book. And I think you can still, Kate, you can still go to Real Trends and buy it from the website.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any questions, anything you want to do, Travis mentioned tech@realtrends.com. We're very responsive. We'll answer any questions. We'll help work with you. But yeah, we can help you out.
Perfect.
For sure.
Perfect.
Realtrends.com.
I appreciate it. If you have any referrals heading out to the East Coast of the United States, get a hold of Dave. He'll put you in the hands of the right RE/MAX agent. Any referrals coming out to the West Coast of Canada, get a hold of me. I'll put you in the hands of the right RE/MAX agent. And as Melanie Gelly of RE/MAX Portfolio wants us in every show, please tell 5 other agents about Mobile LP. Our audience grows every week. This is a ton of fun. Coming to New Jersey to do a live show. That's going to be super fun too as well. And it allows us to reach out to people like Kate Madison and Travis Saxon from Real Trends to give us an hour of your time. Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much, Travis. We appreciate the hour. Thanks, Dave. It was good to see you. We had a couple of weeks off. I'm glad you had a fantastic July the 4th. Say hi to Vanessa for me. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you very, very soon.